Not every car is built to impress. Some look like they escaped from a bad dream, leaving us wondering who thought this was a good idea. Today, we're counting down the 12 stupidest cars ever made. Buckle up, it's going to be a wild ride. 12. The 1958 Buick Limited. The 1958 Buick Limited was America's way of saying, go big or go home, except it forgot the go home part. This giant was over 19 feet long and weighed nearly 5,000 pounds, making parking it in a city lot basically a mission impossible. Imagine trying to squeeze that beast into a tight spot. Good luck. Under the hood, it had a 364 cubic inch V8 with 300 horsepower. But don't get too excited. It drank gas like a frat party. The chrome? Oh, it was everywhere. Like someone went wild with a shiny sticker spree, turning the car into a rolling disco ball. Only about 7,400 people bought one, and Buick quickly realized maybe less is more. Still, it did pamper its passengers with fancy interiors and a smooth ride. Sometimes, luxury just goes a little overboard. 11. The 1957 Ford Skyliner Retractable. Ever wonder what happens when an engineer goes a little too ambitious? Meet the 1957 Ford Skyliner Retractable, a car that's part genius, part headache. It boasted the first mass-produced retractable hardtop, powered by a wild setup of 7 electric motors, 6 locks, 4 lift jacks, and enough wiring to circle a football field. Sounds cool, right? Well, cool until the roof decided to freeze mid-operation. Imagine getting caught in the rain with a convertible roof stuck halfway. Yep, that nightmare was real. And forget about packing for a trip because the trunk space was gobbled up by the whole roof mechanism, leaving room for maybe a small purse. Oh, and it cost nearly $3,000 back then. That's like dropping over $300,000 today. So yeah, impressive, expensive, and totally impractical. The 1954 Packard Panther. The 1954 Packard Panther is one of those rare rides that makes you wonder if the designers were dreaming big or just plain confused. Only 4 of these babies ever rolled off the lot, making it a unicorn in the car world. Originally called the Gray Wolf, this concept was supposed to shout, "The future of luxury," but it mostly whispered, "What even is this?" The body, crafted from a single piece of fiberglass by Dick Teague, looks so wild it could be an AI prank. And while it was strutting around in 1954 with a flashy fiberglass shell, under the hood, it clung to an old-school flathead engine, even though a shiny new V8 was already stealing the spotlight. It did pack 275 supercharged horses, but hitting just over 110 miles per hour wasn't exactly breaking any speed records. Future? Maybe not so much. 9. The 1959 Chevrolet El Camino. When Chevrolet rolled out the El Camino in 1959, it was trying to be the mullet of the car world. Business in front, party in back. The idea? Combine a pickup's utility with a car's style and comfort. Sounds clever, right? But the El Camino got stuck in a serious identity crisis. It wasn't tough enough to be a real truck, and it didn't handle like a proper car. Buyers were left scratching their heads, wondering if they should just stick with a regular pickup or a plain sedan. With flashy tail fins and sweeping lines, it looked cool, but the sloping rear bed made hauling stuff a hassle. Meanwhile, Ford's Ranchero had already cornered this weird hybrid market. The El Camino's first run barely lasted 2 years before Chevrolet pulled the plug, proving sometimes being first just means being confused. 8. The Ford Mustang II, 1974 to 1978. The 1974 Ford Mustang II Cobra II is basically the car version of a bad joke. It looks tough with racing stripes and hood scoops, but has about as much muscle as a wet noodle. Instead of roaring down the street, it was built on the Ford Pinto's economy car bones, which means speed and handling were pretty much off the table. The Cobra name sounds fierce, But under the hood sat a 5.0-liter V8, pushing a laughable 140 horsepower, less than even the original 1965 Mustang. The result? A car that took almost 9 seconds to hit 60 miles per hour. For a Mustang, that's like showing up to a drag race with a tricycle. Critics didn't just call it disappointing. They called it a total betrayal of the Mustang legacy. Ouch. 7. The Amphar. Well, this is awkward. The Amphar, made in West Germany from 61 to 68, tried to be both a car and a boat, and failed spectacularly at both. It had a tiny 1147 cubic centimeter engine that squeezed out a pitiful 38 horsepower. On land, it was slow. On water, it topped out at 7 knots, which is just barely faster than you could swim. Oh, and it wasn't exactly watertight. It had a pump to deal with leaks, because apparently sinking wasn't an option. The weirdest part? It steered with its front wheels even on water. Imagine trying to steer a boat with a car wheel. It's like eating soup with a fork. Even President Lyndon Johnson had one, mostly to scare his friends by pretending the brakes failed before splashing into a lake. The Amphar tried to do 2 jobs and nailed neither. Classic. 6. The Trabant 601. The Trabant 601 was the automotive equivalent of a bad joke wrapped in recycled cotton. Built in East Germany during the Cold War, it ran on a smoky 2-stroke engine that sounded like a lawnmower having a meltdown. Its body wasn't metal, but Duraplast, a mix of recycled cotton and resin. No fuel gauge, unreliable signals, and yes, you had to check the gas with a dipstick. Still, people waited up to 15 years just to own one. When the Berlin Wall fell, thousands were abandoned overnight. Awful? Definitely. But somehow, the Trabant became an icon of its era. 5. The Yugo. Whether you call it the Zastava Corral, Yugo 45, or Yugo GF, this car is basically the king of terrible. Born from the 71 Fiat 127, its biggest selling point was its bargain price, around $4,000. But with a puny 45 horsepower and a top speed of 85 miles per hour, it was officially the slowest car in America. It was like bringing a spoon to a gunfight. The Yugo clung stubbornly to carburetors way past their prime, had wiring that seemed designed to fail, and some models sported engines that would self-destruct if the timing belt snapped. Quality after 91? Let's just say, interior pieces didn't just fit poorly. They didn't even match colors. The jokes practically wrote themselves. How do you double a Yugo's value? Fill the gas tank. Or, why does it have a rear window defroster? To keep your hands warm while pushing. Somehow, its spectacular failure earned it a cult following, like a so-bad-it's-good movie on wheels. Number 4. The Lexus SC430. Ah yes, the Lexus SC430, also known as the car that Jeremy Clarkson and James May crowned the worst car in the history of the world. And honestly, they weren't wrong. Priced at a jaw-dropping $61,000, it promised luxury, excitement, and cutting-edge design, and delivered none of the above. You could choose between fancy walnut or bird's eye maple trim, and yes, it had a retractable hardtop. But once the roof came down, so did your expectations. The 4.3-liter V8 was about as thrilling as a yawn in traffic. And the handling? Imagine steering a waterbed with a loose shopping cart wheel. It looked like someone tried to design a car after only seeing yachts their whole life. It wasn't sporty, it wasn't comfy, and that tiny back seat? More like an expensive parcel shelf. Even Lexus, the king of reliability, stumbled hard with this one. Number 3. The DeLorean DMC-12. The DMC DeLorean, Hollywood's favorite time machine, and reality's most glorified disappointment. Sure, it looked like a spaceship on wheels with those slick gull-wing doors and stainless steel body, but underneath that futuristic skin, a clunky PRV V6 engine that wheezed out a measly 130 horsepower. This car didn't go 88 miles per hour so much as it begged for mercy getting there. And those famous doors? When it rained, they turned into buckets, dumping water right into your lap like some cruel automotive prank. Electrical issues were everywhere. And let's not even talk about the build quality, or the fact that its creator was arrested in a drug sting. Yet, despite being more mess than a machine, the DeLorean still has fans. Maybe because it's one of those rare cases where being a pop culture legend is enough to cover up everything that went wrong under the hood. Number 2, the Edsel, 1958 to 1960. The 1958 Edel Pacer is legendary for being one of the biggest automotive flops ever. Ford hyped it as the future of luxury driving, but delivered a car that quickly became a joke. Its most memorable feature? The infamous horse-collar grille, which looked more like a medieval torture device than a sleek design. While rivals embraced smooth, stylish lines, the Edsel's awkward curves confused buyers. Performance was underwhelming. Controls felt clunky, and launching during a recession sealed its fate. Despite massive investment, the Edel Pacer couldn't shake its reputation as a failure, proving that hype can't save a car that misses the mark in style, function, and timing. Number 1, the Ford Pinto. Let's talk about the Ford Pinto, aka the car that could literally explode if someone tapped you from behind. Rushed to market in just 25 months, Ford's goal was to compete with small imports like the Corolla. But in that rush, they made a deadly mistake, placing the fuel tank between the rear bumper and axle. In a rear-end crash, the tank could rupture and ignite. What's worse, Ford knew. Crash tests showed the danger, but instead of spending $11 per car to fix it, they crunched the numbers and decided it was cheaper to pay off burn victims. An actual internal memo revealed this cold calculation. The Pinto became a rolling fire hazard and a symbol of how profits trumped people. It wasn't just bad engineering, it was a masterclass in corporate failure. With a body count, from fire-prone Pintos to floating failures like the Amphar, these 12 cars prove that not every ride is a masterpiece. But hey, even disasters leave a legacy. Want more jaw-dropping car stories and unbelievable automotive flops? Hit that like button, subscribe, and buckle up for our next wild ride.